I want you to imagine something. You open your banking app on a Tuesday morning, coffee in your hand, same kitchen, same routine. And the number on the screen has 6 figures in it. $100,000. You stare at it. You blink. You close the app. You open it again. It is still there. And in that moment, you feel two things at exactly the same time. The first is pride, real pride, the kind that sits in your chest and makes your eyes sting because you know what it cost you. The years, the discipline, the dinners you skipped, the things you said no to while everyone around you said yes. The second thing you feel is something you did not expect. You feel like you are looking at someone else's account, like you accidentally logged into the wrong app, like there has been a mistake. Because people like you do not have this number. That second feeling is the one that destroys everything you built, and most people never see it coming. Let me explain what is happening inside your brain at that moment. Every milestone before this one, your brain could absorb. At 1,000, it created the saver. At 5,000, the emergency ended. At 10,000, it built a ceiling. At 25,000, it reclassified you from a saver into a builder. At 50,000, gravity kicked in. Your brain handled all of that. But 100,000 is different. 100,000 is not the next step on the same ladder. It is a different ladder entirely. A person with 6 figures in their account is not in the same psychological category as a person with 5 figures. Your brain knows this. Society knows this. Everything in your experience confirms that 6 figures is a different kind of person. And here is the problem. Your brain has no template for that person. If you grew up middle class, or lower, your brain has never been inside a 6-figure identity. It has never rehearsed it. It has never practiced it. It has no reference for how that person thinks, or how that person behaves, or how that person makes decisions. So when the evidence on the screen says you are now that person, and the identity inside your skull says you are not, something has to give. The brain has 2 options when it encounters an identity it cannot verify. Option 1, it freezes. The person stops making financial decisions entirely. They leave the money sitting in a savings account earning almost nothing because any move feels like it might expose the fact that they do not belong at this level. They become financially paralyzed, not by fear of losing money, by fear of being revealed as someone who should not have it. Option 2 is more common and more expensive. The brain reverts. It starts pulling the person back toward the financial identity that feels like home. And it does it so gently, so gradually, that the person does not recognize it as sabotage. It starts with small things. A dinner that is a little more expensive than usual. A purchase you would have thought twice about 6 months ago, but now feels reasonable because you have 6 figures. You can afford it. You earned it. Then the small things get slightly bigger. A vacation that stretches the budget. A car upgrade that was not necessary but felt overdue. A wardrobe refresh because you should look like someone who has this kind of money, right? Then one morning you open the app again, and the number does not have 6 figures anymore. Here's what makes this so dangerous. The person does not experience any of this as self-sabotage. Think about it. When you take yourself to a nicer restaurant after years of sacrifice, that does not feel like destruction. That feels like a reward. When you upgrade something in your life after a decade of settling for less, that does not feel reckless. That feels earned. When you loosen up on the budget because the number in your account finally has breathing room, that does not feel like reversion. That feels like freedom. The brain did something very clever here. It wrapped the sabotage in the language of reward. It disguised the reversion as celebration. It dressed the destruction in the clothing of well-deserved enjoyment. And you accepted it. Because every single spending decision felt rational in isolation. The dinner was reasonable. The vacation was overdue. The car was practical. the wardrobe was necessary. Each one made sense on its own. But added together over 6 months, they brought a 6-figure account back to 5 figures. And the person never made a single decision that felt like a mistake until they opened the app and saw the result. So what do you do about this? The research points to one consistent approach, and it is not what you would expect. You do not fight the brain. You do not force yourself to stop spending through willpower. Willpower is temporary. The identity mismatch is permanent until it is resolved. You resolve it by building evidence. Small, deliberate actions that prove to your brain through repetition that this is who you are now. Not one grand gesture, not a single large investment that proves you belong. That actually makes it worse because the brain treats it as an anomaly. One data point is not a pattern. You need a pattern. A small monthly investment that a 6-figure person would make. A financial conversation that a 6-figure person would have. A book that a 6-figure person would read. A decision that a 6-figure person would consider normal. Repeated, monthly, until the brain has enough evidence to update the template. You are not changing your behavior. You are giving your brain permission to accept the identity that the evidence already supports. The saver protected you. The builder positioned you. The investor deployed for you. The gravity effect compounded for you. But the 6-figure identity needs one thing that none of the previous identities required. Proof. Not proof for the world. Not proof for your family. Not proof for your employer. Proof for the person in the mirror who still does not believe this is real. That proof is not a number. It is a pattern of behavior repeated long enough that the reflection finally updates. If that just changed how you think about reaching your next milestone, subscribe. I will see you in the next one.